Late at night, the lights in the Kosian Palace glowed softly. The streets of Ouagadougou were quiet. But inside his office, President Ibrahim Traoré was wide awake. No coffee, no aids, just silence, and a strange feeling. Something was wrong, the kind of wrong you can't see, but can feel. The meetings had been too cheerful, the handshakes too firm, the smiles too fake. Then, a knock. A quiet envelope was slipped under his door. No name, no stamp, just 4 words, written in rushed, nervous handwriting. Be careful, it's inside. He opened it slowly. Inside, a folded piece of paper, a list of names, military names, men he trusted, men he'd shared meals with, men who'd marched beside him in battle. Now, those same names sent a chill down his spine. He picked up a secure phone and dialed. Zongo, he said, I need you, immediately, and this must stay between us. No one else, not even the generals. Captain Naba Zongo was the kind of soldier who noticed things others missed. He had once uncovered a foreign spy hiding in plain sight. Now, he stood silently in the president's office, saluting. Yes, Mr. President Traoré handed him the list. These names, follow them. Don't speak, don't act, just watch. If you find anything, no phones, come to me directly. Zongo nodded. His face didn't flinch, but he knew. This wasn't politics anymore, this was war. That same night, Zongo vanished. No uniform, no rank. He moved like smoke, using a false name and changing his appearance. He began with one name, Colonel Dabir, commander of the 3rd Infantry. A hero in the eyes of many. Respected, sharp, loyal, at least. That's what everyone thought. But something felt wrong. Zongo followed him to a quiet compound just outside the city. No guards, no official cars, just 4 men in military clothes behind closed doors. From the rooftop, Zongo listened through a crack in the window. He recorded what he could, and what he heard made his blood freeze. The president moves too fast, one voice said. He cut foreign ties. Now funding is low. If we don't act soon, we lose everything. Another voice replied, we strike before the independence celebration. One clean move, no mistakes. We remove him. The country stabilizes. Foreign support returns. Zongo's heart pounded. It was real. They were planning a military coup. He moved fast. By sunrise, he was back at the palace, walking past guards who had no idea he was carrying proof of betrayal in his bag. Photos, audio, names. President Traoré was already awake, standing on the balcony as the sky turned gray. Zongo saluted. It's real, he whispered. They're planning to remove you before Independence Day. They've already picked your replacement. Traoré opened the file slowly. He studied the photos. He listened to the voices. Then, he spoke. We don't panic. We prepare. He called for a secret meeting, not in the palace. Too risky. Instead, they met in an abandoned command post just outside the city. Only 5 people were invited. No phones. No recordings. Not even his own bodyguards knew where he was going. Inside that dusty, silent room, he laid out the evidence. These men are not just rebels, Traoré said. They are trained officers. Some fought beside me. Some I called friends. And now, they want to tear this nation apart. A general spoke up. We can arrest them now. Traoré shook his head. If we move too early, we catch the pawns. But the mastermind, the one pulling the strings, he'll escape. Zongo leaned in. You think someone higher is involved? Traoré didn't hesitate. I know it. Dabir isn't smart enough to organize this alone. They fell silent. We let them move just far enough, the president said. Then, we strike. For the next 5 days, President Traoré lived a double life. In public, he smiled, shook hands, gave speeches. But behind the scenes, he was building a silent defense. He moved loyal forces into key locations: the airport, the national radio station, the palace gates. Zongo went deeper undercover. He followed the plotters to secret meetings, watched as they exchanged envelopes filled with cash. He overheard something chilling. Once the president is gone, France will return. Things will go back to normal. Zongo almost acted then, but he remembered the president's words. Not yet. On the 6th day, the message came. The coup leaders would make their move on Sunday night, just before the flag-raising ceremony. They would disguise it as a training drill. Troops loyal to them were already positioned near the palace. And then, the final piece. In Zongo's report, one name hit like thunder: General Yakuba Sere, a national hero, a man loved by the people, a man who had stood beside Traoré during the revolution. Now, he was leading the betrayal. President Traoré sat alone, holding the file in both hands. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just said, "Prepare for Operation Storm Night." That evening, in the underground war room, the trusted team gathered. The map of Ouagadougou was spread on the table. Red dots marked their targets: the palace, military barracks, radio towers, and the secret house where the plotters would meet. Traoré's voice was calm but sharp. "They think they've already won. Tomorrow night, they will make their move, but we'll be waiting." Zongo pointed to a location on the map. "General Sere will be here. If we capture him, the coup ends at the head." Traoré gave one final order: "Capture, do not kill. I want the people to see who betrayed them." The night before the coup, Traoré slept only 1 hour. He dressed in plain clothes. He drove himself. No one recognized him. At 11:47 p.m., the fake training drill began. But the gates were already locked. The guards they thought were loyal had been replaced days earlier. At 12:08 a.m., the coup leaders arrived at their meeting place. They walked into a trap. Zongo stepped forward. "Down on your knees. Drop your weapons." General Sere raised his hand slowly. His face was pale. Zongo, you were the shadow." Zongo stepped closer. "No," he said. "I was the mirror. You betrayed yourself." By dawn, the streets of Ouagadougou were calm. Shops opened. Children walked to school. The people had no idea how close they'd come to disaster. At 7:30 a.m., President Traoré stepped into the press room. No suit, no ceremony, just his army uniform and the truth. He looked into the cameras. "Last night, your country was nearly stolen," he said. "Not by outsiders, but from within, by men who smiled during the day and plotted at night." He paused, "But they forgot something. Burkina Faso is not for sale." The room went silent. "Those behind this plot have been arrested. They will face justice, not for revenge, but for truth." Outside, word began to spread. Whispers turned to anger. Anger turned to cheers. But the biggest question on everyone's lips was, how did he know? The answer came in a quiet room that same evening. Captain Zongo sat with the president. There was one name he hadn't included in the official report: a sealed envelope, handed directly to Traoré. Inside, the final piece: Sergeant Karim Sawado, an ordinary soldier, no medals, no rank, but he had been in every meeting. He took notes, recorded voices, and risked his life to pass it all to Zongo. He had been offered a new life in Europe, a house, a salary, a future. But he said no. "I believe in Traoré more than I believe in Paris." That night, the president met him in person. "You didn't have to do this," Traoré said softly. "You could have stayed silent." Karim looked down. "I remembered something you said," he whispered. "The fight for Africa is not for the loud ones. It's for the loyal ones." Traoré stood tall. "You've done more for this nation in silence than others have done with speeches." He handed him a new rank. "From today, you are no longer hidden. You are a protector of the people." Across the country, things began to change. Old generals were questioned, their homes searched, their secrets uncovered. New leaders were promoted, young, honest, loyal. In one bold speech, Traoré faced the National Defense Council. "I was nearly killed because some of you love power more than the people. That ends today." He laid down a new law. Military salaries would be public, promotions reviewed by citizens. No more secret foreign ties. "If you want to work for France," he said, "the door is open, but in Burkina Faso, we serve no one but the people." One by one, the old wolves left, and the new lions stepped in. Days later, he visited a military camp. No cameras, no applause, just young cadets. And one lesson: your weapon is not your gun, it's your loyalty. Stay poor with honor and you'll die rich in respect. That night, President Traoré returned to the palace. He looked out at the city lights. No parade, no speech. He wasn't seeking power. He was defending truth. And the people, they weren't just proud. They were awake, because now they knew if anyone ever tried to sell their country again, face the lion.